All right, we're back. I've been asked a lot. Yes, we're finally going to do this. We are going to react. I have not watched any bit of the second episode of Behind the Grind, and I'm excited to. I'm very much excited to. Shout out to everybody that is a part of this video. Just awesome stuff, and this series. I love this series. I love what they've done. And I'm really excited to get into episode 2. I just wanted to let you guys know the reason for the delay is that I started over, another channel over on kick.com. If you want to check that out, link is in the description. Kick.com/JKBogan would really help me out if you can go and give that a follow. Still streaming on YouTube, but I'm also streaming on Kick now and really trying to, develop that in case you haven't noticed. So anyway, on to, the second episode. Let's react to it.
The draft is the beginning of certain players' futures with the Rams in the NFL. Things happen fast in the NFL, so one of the easiest ways to learn from others is reading, and sometimes learning from others who did great things to give the Rams an edge. One of my favorite authors that really relates to the NFL, to football, is Jim Collins. One thing that's very interesting that he teaches is what he calls this flywheel, where if you do these actions and you just do them over and over again, that's going to compound. Executing the flywheel. The first thing we're going to try to do with the Rams is identify and then select people to give the Rams an edge. That's with our second rounder, that's with our third rounder, 5th, 6th, 7th, that's with our college free agents. The very next thing on our flywheel is really, how do we immerse these individuals who give us an edge? How do we bring them into the building as individuals and work together symbiotically? The Rams, it's an organism, it's alive, but people are bringing it to life. So how do we help them realize that you're actually part of this ecosystem, this organism, to build this competent collective? We're just trying to engineer a dynamic, explosive, anti-fragile, competent football team that has a chance to compete for championships. It might be for the division, it might be for the conference, it might be for the Super Bowl. When the seas get uncalm, it's those moments is what the flywheel does. It's that map to go, oh, by the way, we're gonna get this ship to shore. Hey, if we draft you, you want to come play for us?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, man, then we're going to do it.
Going to the Rams.
The Los Angeles Rams select
We're about to draft. A lot of prep is done going into this set date in April. The element of building something to last, there's going to be different phases that you're in. There's no secret, right? We were definitely in a phase where we had a very competent core growing into their prime together.
I feel very comfortable about him if you would draft him.
The week of the draft and the dialogue that comes with it looks a little different than the months that were preceding. You're able to be a bit more pointed in your questioning. You're going to get some specific responses that are really going to allow the fog to clear.
Would you draft him late? Think 5th, 6th, 7th round.
That guy has outstanding ball skills. I mean, some of the best of it in my area.
Yeah, I think I've articulated, if you draft him to go A to B fast, got a chance.
The best part about the way in which Les leads this group is that he allows them to be themselves. He allows them to own their piece to the puzzle. And beyond that, it's up to each of us individually to ensure that we come through.
At the end of the day, once we identified these people, at some point they'll be the Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Tyler Higbee, Aaron Donald, players like that who have been here a while, and they'll pass the torch. And the formula is always being able to pass the torch at the right times, and that's the art of the equation.
Shout out to the Rams. I don't know if I mentioned in the last one, but they literally have the chair that I want right there. That is the Hayworth Fern chair. And it's got the spine on the back. Just, I'm so jealous right now.
We can talk about Stetson Bennett. Yeah.
He wants to recommend some guys.
I like him.
Time will tell.
LA is the home of epic storytelling. The Rams really lean into that opportunity. The draft film sets the tone for us, and we establish the tone and tenor of who we are and what we're made of. This year, a Hollywood blockbuster, celebrity-infused opportunity to tell our story. The more organic, the better. Cheech Marin, Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul, Josh Duhamel, as well as Diplo, all featured within the film, really bringing their respective labs to life. Fans expect for us to acknowledge in an honest and authentic way that last season was tough. And so you can't breed hope and optimism in this offseason without addressing that head on.
She's 100% spot on. Like, I think that's really every Rams fan is just like, hey, you know, can you at least admit last season was a failure? It's not what we, want. And at least understand, look, you want to do the whole remodel, fine, but we can't go through another season like that. It's too painful to go through that when you have an Aaron Donald, a Matthew Stafford, so forth. So, no, I absolutely agree with her. I'm not saying, that's how I still feel or how any fan feels, but that's how I felt coming in. I totally vibe with what she's saying.
And so going back into the lab acknowledges there's work on our side to be done.
How are you?
Ryan?
Pleasure to meet you.
Big fan of you guys.
Aaron?
Coach, how you
Good to see
doing?
you.
Pleasure, man.
You guys doing all right?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of you guys.
Oh, thank you, my friend.
Enjoyed that.
Yeah.
What a successful show that was, though.
I would equate it to going into a season, know you're good.
Right.
You just got to knock wood that everybody stays healthy. We got to knock wood people see this show.
Right.
Sure.
Is there a way to crack through the hundreds of shows out there?
Absolutely.
Yes, how are you?
Good. How about you?
So this is cool. Really like Bryan Cranston. I like Aaron Paul. I feel bad. I only saw one episode of Breaking Bad. I really liked it, and then I never watched it again. Couldn't tell you as to why. That's just what ended up happening. Maybe I'll watch it after I finish Succession. But no, it's cool. I heard he's going to retire, Bryan Cranston, from acting. So he's had a great career and very likable.
Good, man. I was asking the coach, I said, organizational needs or physical ability? I mean, what is it?
It's always
any
both.
one lead?
Calculus formula.
It's a
little bit of a blend.
A little bit of a blend, yeah. Hey, man.
Great meeting
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
Too.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Les.
man.
Have a good season.
Have a good year.
There's nothing like being on set. There's a certain electricity that fills the air.
This lab is as much a concept as a place. To win the future, you start by studying the current chemistry.
What's awesome is we just had this conversation with Les and Sean about the formula for the draft. So good. While I'd love to be able to snap my fingers and say these things take no time to produce, these are months in the making. Locations upon locations that you're shooting at.
And here we go, folks. 3, 2. 16 golf. Take one. Mark.
I'll give it all.
At the end of the day, it's just you and the camera, right?
It's my guy.
That's about it.
We interviewed him twice on Downtown Rams. Big fan of Quentin Lake. I think he's going to have a, impressive season this upcoming year. I think he's a player that kind of gets slept on a little bit, but look out for number 37.
And then, a couple movie stars that I've seen in movies that I watched when I was younger. Nothing too much. Is it easy being an actor?
Probably easier than being a pro football player.
The amount of lines you have to memorize.
I wanted to be a pro football player.
3, 2.
A lab can be about many things, or rest and recovery, all of which are vital to player performance. Sleep well, Jordan.
First time. Beginner's luck. I'm going after
He says, how did you get in here?
Same deal, go to Josh here.
Easy enough. He said he played. He said he played. Start panicking like.
And dialogue.
Don't look at me. He said he played.
JD, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you, guys.
That's a wrap, folks. We get out here very safely, not in a rush, okay?
The Los Angeles Rams has really invented this unique tent pole outside of a typical space and thinking about how we can draft and then take advantage of it.
Shout out to Jen, supportive on Twitter. You know, has reached out to me, been really nice. So just wanted to give her a shout out. Nice seeing her on here.
An incredible draft venue and a draft headquarters. It's differentiated, it's unexpected. And so for this third year, we've really built upon the last 2 years of setting up in a venue that's pretty fabulous, yet useful and functional. The Draft House, this year the Draft Lab, which is a really intimate experiential play, and it's combined with being able to get in front of fans and influencers and communities that are all in Los Angeles as we build upon the types of events that we do here. So in addition to this house serving partners, suite owners, influencers, and more, it's really about conducting business and making sure that we have the right setup for the NFL draft.
This is ready, I'm dropping this switch. We're gonna have that ready. I don't know where that one's going yet, probably there, so we got plenty of space to bring it across. 1, 2.
1, 2.
3, 4.
Okay, so the one under the TV is 1.
Yes, and then 5 back in this room.
I did that one.
And that's what I'm trying to run out to now. For the Draft House, we do a full extension of our network to this home. We've got a couple vendors that come in and assist us, so I'm making sure that they are able to function and work efficiently without hitting any snags, designing the network that we're gonna deploy.
This is the one that's still.
Yeah, this one's gotta get transitioned.
Shout out to IT guys, working in a call center. You know, he ended up becoming a friend of mine, Michael. You know, I understand how much they go through, and obviously my father, you know, he's in that field as well. So I like that the Rams are kind of shouting out in this, you know, in this whole thing here. You know, shouting out different people in this organization, people that we haven't really seen on camera in these types of videos. So good on them.
A lot of the challenges we run into are really just wiring configurations. There's a lot of wiring. We're wiring up a phone that connects over to a hub monitor, which you can plug into, get on our network. We have an NDI solution that's going into a decoder so that they can watch our draft board at each one of these stations. And then we connect that to our firewall and our switching network, which we deploy throughout the house to build our draft room as our primary location. Anytime we're leaving the comfort of our home network, there's added pressure, absolutely. If the internet were to go down and we were about to be on the clock and we're on our wireless backup, that certainly adds pressure. I'll be sitting here on eggshells for the duration of the draft, but at the same time, hopefully I'm sitting in the back corner on my computer, because if you don't see us running around, that means things were set up properly and we've prepared, tested, and implemented a successful event.
I can't imagine the pressure. That's brutal. They're the Hayworth Fern chairs again.
I have a sign that says the draft isn't till April. A lot of prep is done going into this set date.
Pretty straightforward. For draft day, we got 11 picks currently. 1 in the second, 2 in the third. As we get into maybe the black hole there in the fourth, we got about a 90-pick window in which we're just swatting right now.
We talked about the life cycle with Sean. We talked about chapter 1 being hiring Sean and our first Super Bowl, losing it. Called chapter 2 while trying to avenge that loss and getting there and actually winning it. And now we've nicknamed this chapter 3 of like, okay, we've been to 2 Super Bowls, what's next?
All right, quick show of hands. How many people here have been with the Rams when we've picked 36 or higher? Yeah, I would have no clue what this organization would do if we actually had a first-round pick. The really interesting thing, right now we have 44 players on the roster.
I think as we start to talk a little bit more about what day 3 looks like, only sign players you want to be a Ram. Don't just sign somebody because there's a roster target number.
It's a lot of preparation for that moment in the beginning of there are certain players, right, futures with the Rams and the NFL.
When we talk about the draft, we talk about dreaming big, talking about what players can become, what the team can become. It's the same on the business side. With what we've done with the Draft Lab, the draft has become an integral element where everybody is involved in the draft.
Can't say enough about the work that you guys have done, and there's no year that we can take even more advantage of it better than this one, you know, to be able to get it figured out. And I give a ton of credit to you guys for making this smooth and seamless and having the communication and the clarity be what we're hunting up.
I am so excited for what this team can become. I think some of you have heard me say this and it will sound crazy, but I promise you it's not. I am more excited about this team going into 2023 at this point in the year than I was for last year's team going into 2022.
What's interesting about that statement is, you know, last year I think it was a mixed bag, if you will. Obviously there were injuries, but I think what doesn't really get talked about enough is, you know, how do you keep that hunger? How do you, you know, once you win the Super Bowl, obviously it's great to win another, but you know, with those guys that left that maybe you didn't expect, like you know, a Von Miller, Austin Corbett. I mean, it's a little interesting. I mean, hearing from Jordan Rodriguez saying that, you know, they interviewed, you know, Rashad Samples for 15 minutes. They had him, you know, a 15-minute conversation. They hired him as the running back coach. Like, they were kind of put into a little bit of a predicament. They win the Super Bowl. That's, you know, mid-February or whatever. And now all of a sudden, all these guys are hired. So you have slim pickings, and you're the team that you know you're going to get plucked. You're going to lose your defensive coordinator. You're going to lose your offensive coordinator. Obviously, they didn't lose their defensive coordinator, but normally that's what's going to happen. And it's just interesting when you think about it because, you know, it's almost not really fair when you think about it because the Rams came out of the Super Bowl and it was like there's not really anyone for them to hire, but they're going to lose a bunch of guys and it's going to make it really difficult for them. So, yeah, I don't know. I think, you know, it was a little bit of a shortened off season because of it. Not super shortened, but also not just, you have to think in terms of this, just because, you know, whatever, February 14th or whenever it was, just because that's when they won. Actually, I have it right here. February 13th. Thank you, Banner. So February 13th, just because the Rams win the Super Bowl on February 13th doesn't mean February 14th they're back to the, you know, nose to the grindstone. We know, we saw it. We saw the celebrations. We saw Donald going on, you know, late night shows. We saw, you know, ring ceremonies, things like that. I mean, it wasn't a you know, a stereotypical, you know, normal off season. And so I think that is what is like kind of the struggle about it. And so I think going into this year, it's a different element where now you don't make the playoffs. I mean, this has been nose to the grindstone since Sean McVay announced he was coming back as the head coach. So yeah, I see what he's saying. I understand some may not understand, but I do see what he's saying. And I think it's a real thing to say for sure. I mean, it's just a different feel.
How you feel?
Well, it's early still.
When do you start being like, listen, we'll give you these two guys for that guy?
In about 11 picks.
No, he's saying there's a possibility we trade into the first round.
I think it's fair to say that each trade-up scenario isn't exactly the same. In trade-up scenarios, discussing whether or not we move up for some of the players that we had bucketed and considered as potential impact adds.
What do you really think begins to make sense?
I wonder if you call Washington.
It has a way of working itself out.
Yeah, that element that you got to prepare for. Is there anyone that you would trade up for? And then at that point, you got to wait and see how it unfolds. I was wondering if y'all were, you want to come back to 36? Or are you going to pick?
Hey, Coach. Good, how are you?
You know what, we wouldn't do the next year too.
Thank you. Yes. No next year picks. No. I like that they was like, yeah, we're not going to do next year too. I like that. I mean, oftentimes, look, you have a chance to go up and get your guy. You go up and get your guy, but you know, you don't want to get caught in kind of an emotional, you know, riptide where all of a sudden now, you know, you're moving assets for next year for a guy in this draft when in reality, I mean, you know, you may love him, but there's another guy that's maybe as good or barely not as good in the next round or so forth. So teams, I mean, we saw that with New Orleans when they traded 2 first-rounders to get Marcus Davenport. That is a sign, like, just absolutely loved the player, gave up a little too much, and now he's not playing for the Saints. He didn't make it onto another contract. He's now with the Vikings. So it's just a constant reminder, like, you know, during that time, the recency bias, the flow of it, you're thinking, oh crap, I want this guy. I need this guy. This guy needs to wear my uniform. But at the same time, it has to make sense. And I like that he said no to that.
Again, I don't mind talking about next year, but yeah, this year picks would be better. Is anyone within reach willing to dance with us in a trade? So that's the part that's fun, because you just don't know.
If these guys go, I've been talking with O'Connell, I think they're trying to get out. Would that still make the most sense for us?
Hey, this is Les Rams.
This is where it gets interesting.
You allow the board to play itself out, at which point you're able to even see with a little bit more 20/20 vision, and at that point in time, you're able to see it all take shape in a way that allows you to actually take action and feel like you have a firm grip on a lot of that movement.
Damn, that really eliminates our abilities to go up then, doesn't it?
I don't know what the world thinks we need. It seems like they say we need everything.
The first round falling the way that it did, how tempting was it for you guys to discuss what to do versus the amount of needs that you had at that time?
There were certain guys that we had discussed that would definitely merit that. Now, how it unfolds and whether you can do that or not, but it didn't come to fruition.
Yeah, what was interesting, no team really moved out of the first to the second. And I know there was probably a few other teams that were trying to get there, but for whatever reason this year, usually it happens once or twice. Late part of the first round, it didn't happen.
I can confirm, I was told, from, a few sources, the Rams were interested in going after, first off, I said Myles Murphy. I reported that during the draft. But they also really liked Dalton Kincaid. They also liked other, Zay Flowers. They liked JSN. They liked Jordan Addison. But those are the two names I was given like the biggest emphasis on: Myles Murphy, who went to Cincinnati, and Dalton Kincaid, who went to the Buffalo Bills.
I would just say the vision for how you use a guy and how it comes to life.
I think we're playing it right. Pick 36, that's the base rate's right. Trade somewhere. Hey, if we trade back and one of these guys is there, you know what I'm saying? But I know Ryan's liked it. What you're gonna really do is work through the scenario. If you trade back, there's an element of now you're collecting these draft picks. A lot of people are projecting him to go. There's no name to them, there's no genre, flavor, skill set. It's just, oh, that's a draft pick. That thing's very valuable. So on paper, collecting more just means you're gonna get more shots. TCU may be the guy if you pick an OL at 36, stay.
Oh, I like this guy.
As we're sitting there at 36, thinking to ourselves, all right, there's this bucket of a handful of players that we feel like could help make an impact and improve our roster. Let's begin the dialogue around whether or not those are moves we want to make.
He may go first of these OL right now. This guy's a clinic in the run game, right? I know he can play the run. I know he can run block. We may prepare to the best of our abilities and say, sometimes they fall right to it and you go, wow, aren't we brilliant? We didn't make the trade up. A lot of times they'll go before you. Got to get over the emotion and then sit there, hey, you ready to pick or are you ready to trade back? So you're usually not just sitting still.
So what's your gut tell you?
We've done a lot of work on him.
The only thing that I would say that I think is a good thing is this was your intuition right after last night.
Let's make the pick. Let's get this guy on the call. Come on. Texas Christian. Steve.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Les Snead, Los Angeles Rams.
How you doing?
Well, let me ask you this. You want to be a Los Angeles Ram if we draft you?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
All right, then. Well, I'm going to put you on the phone with your new head coach, Sean McVay. Congrats, my man.
Congratulations.
Hey, Coach.
How you doing, man? You excited?
I'm ready to go, Coach.
That's awesome. Are you with your family right now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, congratulations. Got a lot of people excited. Can't wait to get to work with you, man. Enjoy this. What an awesome day for you.
I appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
He's emotional, man. Good job.
With the 36th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Rams select Steve Avila, guard, TCU.
The neat thing is you do know he can play two guards in a center spot. That just makes you more valuable, and we'll try to figure out the best five and go from there.
Off this time. Miller, touchdown, Horned Frogs!
Let's go! At the end of the day, we have a lot of positions. Each time you go to pick, there's probably a player at all of those positions available, and at that point you go, okay, this player at this position fits our job description the most, and let's try to pick that player and then move on to the next pick.
There's just something about Steve Avila where I just feel like he's going to be one of the best interior offensive linemen in football. It doesn't matter if he plays guard, if he plays center, he is going to be a problem. And I'm very excited to see him. It just, this offensive line is pretty much the same as last year. If they were fully healthy. We don't know if it's going to be Brian Allen or Coleman Shelton because, rumors Coleman Shelton is taking first team snaps. It's early on, though. But when you look at what Steve Avila brings to the table as a true mauler, a guy that doesn't really give up sacks, just really stout all around. I think he's got all pro level and he's a day one Pro Bowl level player. So I feel really good about that pick. The more time that goes by, the more I cannot wait to see him, on that line starting week 1.
Let's start studying some of these guys that you think you'll really like.
Ultimately, the goal at each pick is to select the best football player, and typically if you do that, it's going to work out for the best. That really is the North Star coming up on each pick point, is wanting to get that guy.
If you were to say, actual positions that you think you would want to address, are you still thinking, what do you think is?
If one of those two were there, I'd say do that. Just go back to back, and let's take the best player and don't fill needs.
The day 2 selections, we wanted to ensure that we were leveling the competition up across our entire roster. Players that we firmly believe are in position to compete for starting roster spots.
Whether it's edge, interior, it's like who complements AB in your mind and is also better for us long term. I think addressing the rusher, whoever you guys think is the best, is a smart thing.
Let's go Tennessee.
Go with your gut.
He's gonna work his ass off, and
he will.
Yes.
And that's your favorite? All right, let's do it. Let's go Tennessee.
Hello. Hey Byron, Les Snead, Los Angeles Rams. Hey, you ever dreamed of playing in the NFL?
Yes, sir.
Do you want to play for the Rams?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. We're gonna draft you.
The Los Angeles Rams select Byron Young.
Out of high school, didn't sign with anyone. Ended up working Dollar General, then walking on at a junior college in Georgia. And at the end of the day, he ends up getting to Tennessee. There's a story there that, wow, this guy was hungry.
Pressured again and sacks Byron Young.
For new businesses, Fiverr Freelancers is like a backbone. You can find anything. My name is Jimmy Valentin.
That's another guy, Byron Young. Loved this pick. I just love his work ethic. I love his story. And I think just his, you look at the ceiling and it may not be as high as some of the other guys, but I think his floor is higher than people think. And he's an older pass rusher. Like he's going to get things going, I think, early on. So I'm excited about him for sure.
That's what you do.
Sean and Les balance each other out so well. What Les means to Sean throughout the regular season is what Sean means to Les throughout the lead up to the draft.
My favorite football player is Wake Forest. I just don't know if this is where we pick him, but the way it's been going.
Les, one thing I appreciate is the conviction on something. If all these guys go, who are you going to be the most pissed about?
Oh, that's right there.
To watch the dynamic on draft day unfold, see Sean listening to Les, and to allow him the luxury of some more confidence to pull triggers and to go ahead and make decisions a little bit more straightforward.
You feel strongly about it. I'm with you 100%. So let me ask you this. What are we talking about then? If you feel that much love and so does he.
He loves it.
Right? I mean, this is a consistent buy-in.
It's set up to be a super collaborative process. It's an open space compared to kind of your traditional draft room, and the room is really set up for exactly that.
I gotta say, that's the vibe I get. I think it's cool because I saw the Cowboys video and it is like a corporate conference call. You have, that dude that's phoning in from China or whatever. And that's how it felt. Like watching this feels more open. This feels like more of conversational. These are friends. These guys are leaning on each other. They trust each other. Whereas it's not a real like traditional war room. It seems very casual. I don't know everybody that's in there, but I've seen some people that are in there that maybe I don't know if like they have to be in there. So it seems more laid back. Whereas like I watched that Cowboys video and it was like, everyone's wearing a suit and it is a war room by every meaning of the word. Or the term war room. So, I think that's actually kind of cool. Didn't really think about that. It didn't really occur to me until like now. But yeah, I mean, as you can see, it's pretty conversational. It seems like Les Snead has done his homework more than, obviously I'm not taking shots at McVay, but clearly like Snead knows who he wants and McVay's kind of like, all right, I trust you, my guy, and I'm sure, McVay knows, a bunch about these guys too, but you could tell Snead has been doing his research for sure, like really honing in on certain prospects. I love that they call them Wake Forest and Tennessee and, Texas Christian. I don't know if they're cutting out the names, but if they're not, I think that's hilarious. They just call them by the college.
Is there anybody that would go with another player before Wake from the defensive side?
Not based on what we're going to use.
So there's a unanimous buy-in on Wake. My thing is this, we're going to be furious if we lose this guy.
Well, we've done a nice job adjusting all day, and it's worked out. You know what? Let's end on a good note.
Let's do it. Come on.
Chef
hey,
coming in.
Les.
Hey, Dave!
Kobe. Hey, this is Les Snead, Los Angeles Rams.
Yes, sir.
Hey, if we draft you, you want to come play for us?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, man, then we're going to do it. He's built similarly to Aaron Donald and has a very similar style game where there is an element of get off right now in a short area that can give him an advantage on the OL and get an edge.
Football, it's on the turf. Kobe Turner comes up with the pigskin and bounces his way to the sideline.
The success for us is getting the draft board right. It's unreal how many little data points influence where a guy ends up on the draft board. If I were to go back and look at how many hours we spent truly just looking at the board and tweaking it, being able to see that final result up on the screen and knowing how much work from our entire team went into putting that together was a really fulfilling moment.
So Kobe Turner, the pick, clearly it seems like Les Snead was all about getting him. Seems like they were the most interested. But also seems like they kind of were like, he might be there. We might have to trade up maybe in the 4th round, but we're just going to do it. And I think this is good because at the time I didn't really like this pick because, I had my other guys. Obviously Adebawore was sitting right there, and I just don't know how you pass up Adebayo's athleticism and just a monster. But if this is your guy, it doesn't matter where he is on my board, okay? It doesn't matter what I think. By the way, I think Kobe Turner is going to be a really good football player. I'm getting that John Johnson vibe where I wanted Desmond King, and they picked John Johnson. I didn't love the pick, but I do like John Johnson. And then he ends up being really, really good. So I think it's going to be that all over again. Now, with Kobe, this is what teams do. Good teams just go and get their guy. They don't second guess it. They go and get their guy. Other teams that may not be good, they might be at the bottom of the pack, they might be like, hey, you know what? They overthink it. Like Kobe Turner, he'll probably be there at the end of the 4th round. And then you wait, and then you're like, all right, we could trade up and secure him, or we can just wait. And then you wait, and you miss out on your guy. And now all of a sudden, he's on your rival team, forcing a game-winning fumble or something like that. And it's just like, what did you do? So I like that the Rams just kind of pounced on Kobe Turner here. That's who he was, their guy, and so they went and they didn't even waste any time. I love it.
One of your scouts mentioned smart, tough, competitive, what you guys were aiming for here. How do each of these guys that you picked embody that?
You know what's really cool is we've always tried to embody it. We sat down and had a conversation with Aaron Donald, and we were talking about this is kind of the blueprint, play with some younger players, less experienced players on defense per se. And you know what was awesome? He looked you in the eye and said, here's the deal. I'm good. Just make sure they care. That's always resonated with me. But I think we've always tried to do that. If you want a simple algorithm of people you can bet on probably in life and on the football field, or people who actually are passionate about doing what they do and then working to try to go be good or great, carve out a role.
Be in the market for a quarterback tomorrow on day 3, and is that kind of what the plan might have been going in, that Saturday would be the day you might do that?
We're actually thinking we're going to be the first team ever to carry one quarterback the whole year. And that's it, Gary. Hey, no
That speaks for
specialists on the
Matthew's
roster
help.
right now. It's interesting.
We're not going to punt. I don't know who's kicking off. Be fun to watch.
It was a gap of 90 picks between our final 3rd round selection and our first 5th round selection.
We're on the clock.
Los Angeles Rams are now on the clock.
So 5-minute clock, so it's going to go faster too.
We were able to acquire some draft capital in between there to address some players and add some players that we had a lot of interest in.
I can text Dable right now. We're on the clock, so I need to call.
I can text Dable right now. Did you hear that? And then Dable brought that up in the Giants thing, that they were going to trade and they were going to go and select their guy out of Tennessee, my number 1 receiver in the draft, Jalen Hyatt.
This cat. You guys want to do it?
Do you think ugly people are attracted to each other? Because they look in the mirror at an ugly person and they're like, ugh, what is ugh?
Do you want to do it? So it's 89 and 128 for 73. Okay, perfect. That's good. Thanks, man. Who are the top 5 players on the board in there?
There was one player that really jumped out in comparison to the rest that we wanted to make sure we didn't lose out on.
You have been on him for
Yes. Didn't we just come up for that?
try to come up for that guy. You have all of
Yeah.
like if somehow it goes wrong, you have
Yes.
all of this.
That is true.
But you'll win. If you don't do that,
Oh, I'm in agreement with that.
They were asking about QBs earlier. We're past the strengths and weaknesses. This is a yes or no day. The part that's fun. If we stayed pat, we're picking this player. And then there's that element that you got to prepare for. Is there anyone that you would trade up for? You got to wait and see how it unfolds. Do any of those players fall to within reach?
The Jacksonville Jaguars are traded the 127th pick to the New Orleans Saints.
So what do we want away?
New Orleans is now on the clock.
From this point forward, you just got to trust what you wrote.
With the 127th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints have selected Jake Haener, quarterback.
We know what we want to do.
We know what we're doing. Hey, Stetson, this is Les Snead, Los Angeles Rams.
Was told he was like the top guy on their board when they reset it for day 3. So this was not a shock to me. It was cool to break the news. I won't say it wasn't a shock, but when I was able to break this news, I was like trying to get confirmation during the live stream, if those of you that watched it. And I don't know. I really like this pick. This guy is a proven winner. You know, he's got that mobility. He's going to be fun to watch in preseason. I'm very excited about Stetson Bennett. Is he going to be a franchise quarterback? I don't know. It's way too early to say. He's a 4th-round pick. But I wouldn't bet against him because people have, and he just continues to prove people wrong. I mean, so I don't know. I mean, I like the pick. There were other guys that I might have taken over him, but I think that he makes a lot of sense. And I think the biggest hurdle for a young rookie quarterback to get over is getting along and having a relationship with the starting quarterback. And I was told, you know, they vetted, you know, with Stafford, you know, they talked to him about this and they know each other. So there's the hurdle. It's gone, you know, and now you're just, all right, let's get him in the building and let's get to work. And, you know, you need a backup at this point in the draft. You only had one quarterback on the roster. You just saw Jake Haener go off the board. So you were like, okay, well, that just kind of decided it for us because there's going to be a quarterback run coming pretty soon. If not, it just started. So I like the pick.
You want to come play quarterback for us?
I would love to.
All right, then. Hey, we're going to draft you and with this pick, and I'm going to hand you over to Coach McVay.
Okay. All right, yes, sir.
Stetson.
Hey, Coach.
And well, we're excited to get you fired up. We've got an all Georgia quarterback room now. So
yeah,
looking forward to getting you going, man. We've got a lot of respect for you as a player, and it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, man, congratulations.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
With the 128th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Rams select Stetson Bennett, quarterback, Georgia.
Go Dogs.
Yes, indeed. That's good.
The amount of work that goes into a 3-day culmination is a little bit crazy, but I think that's one of the fun things about this job is that you really are doing months and months of work to hone down what ultimately becomes the draft.
See, I would always watch SEC defenders against Georgia's OL because they got a good OL. And it's like, damn, this Stetson Bennett, everybody said he was the damn walk-on. This guy's actually a weapon.
Fires to the end zone. Touchdown. One play. Man out there, and it's caught. Stetson Bennett. Touchdown, Georgia.
He may be able to go. Touchdown, Georgia.
Oh, my. Stetson Bennett.
No doubt. We got 161 to 189.
Where are we at right now?
We've got 6 picks.
It's going to go fast when we start at 161. Like, I think this guy would be really good for us, Les.
We're going to nail that dude.
We're controlling the draft here soon.
It's really cool how much expertise there is in the room. There's really not a single question that Les or Sean can ask that's not answered within 5 seconds. The decision-making becomes super solid because of that collaboration.
So how do you see Georgia fitting into the mix? If you said of all 4 of those corners, who's got the best ability? Les, this guy's a G.
May hit some home runs.
Yeah, I think I would rather have the home run here.
Henny actually really loves him. He's been wanting to draft him. So this is a hell yes.
What's your gut tell you? Let's do that. The amount of work you guys have put in at this point, trust that.
Oh, we're on the clock?
Yeah, it's all right. You got 3 minutes. Imagine if you had to make a play call.
Oh, you can be in this too long. This is a business and, right, young man has a skill. How can that skill be useful to us? But I do think in that moment, especially when you get on the phone, somewhere along the way, each of those young men started playing maybe flag football. Then eventually they put on shoulder pads and helmets, and they were way bigger than probably the shoulder pads and helmets were probably taller than their body. And then next thing you know, they're in middle school, high school. You think of all the hours really that went into, okay, maybe actually getting that phone call. Nick, Warren, Davis, hey Puka, Trevius. Hey, this is Les Snead, the Los Angeles Rams. Whenever they get that call, there is an emotion there that they were trying to thread the needle of, right, being in the 0.001% of high school kids that play football to get that call and to get that opportunity. You've been watching the draft? All right, then well, here's what we're about to do. If we draft you right here, you want to come play football with us? You want to come be a Ram? You want to come play for us?
Going to the Rams.
Very excited about him. Excited about him as well.
At the end of the day, we got jobs available, and there's a lot of young men who this is their dream, to get a job in the NFL, and we'll try to do our part in aligning their dreams and our jobs.
How much time did you spend on manual busy work last year? You know, the repetitive little tasks that...
Hey, John, this is Les Snead, Los Angeles Rams. We're about to take you with the last pick of the draft here. So, you want to be a Ram? All right, ma'am.
I think at the end of it all, you look at the group as a whole and you feel like we've certainly added quality depth to our roster, while at the same time adding a number of players we feel like can, compete for not only starting spots, but also some significant rotational spots. I feel certainly confident that the level of competition throughout our roster has certainly been elevated.
I'm just gonna have a tough time remembering all these picks and drafting. That's why you think I can feel 14's a lot.
Is that how many we made?
Yes, it is.
Oh, wait, that's the whole draft, right? Not today. We didn't.
11 today.
Good deal.
We're a much more competitive football team by the nature of these 14 players. Our guys are doing a great job in the process of adding CFAs, and for the 44 guys that we've had in-house right now, we'll add to that and make sure that everybody that we're onboarding, we feel like has a legitimate chance to make our football team more competitive and a real chance to make the roster.
As soon as the draft is over and you start that CFA process with the agents and stuff, your phone's going nuts.
That's how we roll. You know, we're a young team. We got the lowest amount of people on the roster. I mean, we might have about 40 guys on the roster right now. So, I mean, chances that guys can come here and really compete is awesome.
It's a chance to be a mini GM and take control because they give you that control of the process. There's a lot of decisions to be made in a short time frame. In some respects, I'd say it equated to playing quarterback. You got to drop back in 3 seconds and be accurate with your decisions.
Like, I like him, but I walked away going, this kid talks a lot of crap.
You know, he's going to get a lot of reps because we've only got those 3 spots at agent.
We really love your client. We're trying to push as hard as we can.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, look at the roster.
All right, yeah, appreciate you, Joe.
When I had in LA, I told you about that weather now. Ain't nothing better than playing in LA. We spent a lot of time trying to negotiate truly the opportunity that the young man may have coming to the Rams. The opportunity to make our team is real. Have I ever BS'd you? When money gets involved and decisions are made, it is hectic. And the phone calls.
The best scenario and best opportunity is where you should go, man.
It's not always about the money. And I think that's the interesting part for a lot of these young men is that how do you make a decision when you're 19, 20, 21 years old? Somebody offers you $100,000 of guaranteed money and another team offers you 10 grand.
The signing bonus is short money. You want to be on somebody's active roster. Every year we've had somebody make the active roster.
Hopefully did a good job of completing passes in this free agency period, and we're able to get some guys that will not only make the Rams and make our team better, but for those that don't, they get an opportunity to have careers in other places.
Now that we're officially post-draft, we have to take account of what the Los Angeles Rams now have. 14 new additions in this draft, let alone the 26 undrafted free agents.
We got a lot of work to do. Half of this roster is new.
Sean McVay said it on draft day. He drafted an entire team. It's going to be a hot training camp. Yeah. It's going to be competitive. It's going to be bloody. It's going to be fun. A lot of those guys aren't going to make it here, but they're going to leave their mark here trying to make it here. And that's going to make the guys that do stay here a lot better for us.
These guys have brought the right energy, both players and coaches, every single day. That excites me.
They got to buy what you're selling. You're selling the go, right? Make him feel that burst you have. Put his ass on Sports Center. Make him think he's going deep. Hey, Van, that's a hell of a job, Van!
Sean was always learning from the coaches. That's what struck me most about him.
It's an amazing honor to be inducted into the Cradle of Coaches. It really means a lot to me.
It's like you could tell immediately he was going to coach.
All right. So that was a long reaction video, man. I like that. It was beefy. It gave us a lot, kind of a visualization of, what we were looking at. I would like to see a little bit more of those. Oh, is it this player? But the problem is they walk such a tight rope there because you can't, it's like, a guy's already on another team, he was drafted by another team, it's like frowned upon, especially after last year with, the way that whole thing, very, very harmless thing got out of hand with Cole Strange. I think that they tried to kind of stay away from that. But yeah, I mean, for me, I thought this was cool. I'm a kid in a candy store when it comes to the draft. I spend a lot of time, as you guys know, most of you guys know. And, it was cool to see this. It was cool to see, the preparation. I really like the UDFA, or they call them CFAs now. I don't know, but I liked that segment. I think the video team did an outstanding job. The Rams media team here, just next level stuff, man. I mean, you're filming that high end, high quality camera, lighting, microphones, everything just sounded so crisp, and just a job well done for those guys. All right. Just a shout out to those guys. They did an outstanding job, and they deserve more credit. So, that's going to do it for this time around. If you like this, I'm going to be reacting to the third episode whenever it comes out. But Behind the Grind, episode 2 in the books, reaction video in the books. We'll be back. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Later, folks.